this magnificent looking beast is a beautiful piece of elm burl. It certainly has some problems. We've got a knot here which stems from this part of the wood here, which we don't know the state of in there, so that could give us some issues. But the burls and swirls in this area here are absolutely gorgeous, that it deserves our best efforts to turn this into a nice piece. Now what I intend to do is to turn a foot on this side. I think the majority of the turnings are going to be done on here. Nice foot, nice stem going out to the wings, and then the top edge we're going to have a very, very shallow curve dip in here, so it's like a nice presentation piece for a sideboard or something like that. One initial problem we've got is that it's too tall for the lathe. It's just over 18 inches long, which is a shame, because I'd love to have turned it in as it is, but we can't, and I'm not going to turn this outboard. So what I'm going to do is, with some calipers, find the center point between these two. These calipers are set up just below 9 inches. So that's about the center there, which gives us that kind of area there we have to lose. Just double check that. Yep, just quickly mark that with a pencil so I can see where I am. Right, I'm going to cut this area off with a jigsaw and then mount it between centres. I'm not going to use a faceplate or worm screw or anything like that, because this needs to be left fairly shallow. Okay, and if I go in with a worm screw, then I've got to take all that wood away. Again, with a faceplate, I've got to remove the screw holes. So I either go with a glue block or between centres, and at this stage I think between centres is by far the safest option. Right, I shall take it away. I shall nip off this corner with the jigsaw, and then we shall come back. Okay, I've nipped off that corner. The good news is that the wood in that bit looks fairly secure, safe, hard, no rot. I'm still worried a bit about this bit here, as to how far this goes in and what the state is in these kind of areas, but the only way we're going to find out is to get it on the lathe and get it turned. Now, this mark we used for the calipers, that's the centre there. I'm going to put it onto the drive spur, bring up my live centre, and we'll get started. Okay, now I need to keep on shuffling this around until I get this surface completely flat. Right, because the top is quite knobbly, it's proving very problematic to try and get that square. So I'm just going to quickly grab a Forstner bit, flatten off this area here to give me some clear surface to be able to put the live centre into. Right, now that was completely my fault, holding onto the piece with a Forstner bit. These should be held securely and your hands well out of the way. Right, so I'll go and do it properly, and but don't worry, I'll be all right. Okay, I created a flat area on the top, so we'll try that again. Much better. Right, tighten this up. Get it nice and secure. Lock it off. I'll sharpen up and we should get started. Some very interesting wood in here. Sorry, mask off. Okay, some very interesting wood in here. I think we're going to have a few more issues than I initially thought. bit of bark come out there and it's perilously close to the edge, so this bit may get lost, but we'll see. Okay, right, I'll keep on working up these sides. I've managed to pick up the speed a little bit now. We've got that big lump out, so we can turn a lot quicker. Let's carry on. Okay, I'm going to keep on working up these sides to try and find the good bits. We know there's good bits because it's nice on the top, so it is here somewhere. Okay, the wood's starting to clear nicely. I don't think it's ever going to be brilliant. And the question is, how thin should I take this bottom area? I think the majority of this project is going to be picking out bark and sanding. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more passes on here, start to create the tenon, and then we're going to get in some picks and start taking out all of these little bits of bark and see what we're left with at the end. Because I think that's going to make a lot of decisions for us on how we go forward. Okay, luckily this wood is nice and solid here, so I can use this for a tenon. Absolutely no way I'm going to put a recess in this. Right, so tenon in, then start picking, and then make another decision. Pretty sure there's enough there to get hold of. Right, I'm going to get my little pick tools, just these little things, and start clearing out all these little areas. Okay, been around it a couple of times. I probably have missed a little bit somewhere, but I think I've done okay. Now I'm going to start sanding this now. It's going to be a sympathetic sanding because I don't really want to affect all these beautiful little nubbins we've got around the edge. So I shall just try and sand the flat areas and these bits which are cut off, and then we'll seal it probably with a shellac, I would think. Getting all these little bits, that'll be the easiest thing to use. Okay, right, I'll set up for sanding. I'll let you watch a bit of it, then I shall bring you back when it's all done. Okay, sanding went well. Everything pretty much had to be done by hand because with these wings, you know, you can't get a constant sanding motion on the surface, so it's just judders against it, so you have to do it all by hand pretty much. So anyway, we're going to go on with a blonde shellac mix just to protect the surface and all these areas, all the bark and all the burls. This really is the best part of the job, isn't it? seeing what this wood looks like with a bit of finish on. This is just a sealer to help protect. I think I'll use a shellac as the main coat as well. Okay, nearly there. I think I'm going to give this at least 2 coats of the sealer before we put a finish on top, because obviously this looks quite dry wood, and the extra bit of sealer on the top is just going to help protect the surface and help protect the wood. Make sure it lasts for an awful lot longer. Right, we're going to have a lunch, see if my thumbs stop bleeding, and then we'll come back after that. Okay, we've got 2 coats of the shellac sealer on here. So now I'm going to go over the surface with a very, very fine grain, like Scotch pad. I think it's about 1,000 grit, 2,000 grit, something like that. And then I'm going to put a coat of full strength shellac, as it were, over the top of it. Okay, we've blown it off, but I'm just going to quickly go over with a bit of isopropyl alcohol as well, just to make sure we get any loose particles off. Right, we'll let that dry, and we'll get the shellac. Okay, it's a blonde shellac, but a full strength mix. Okay, we'll give that a little while to dry, and put another coat on. I'll bring you back after that. Okay, we've got turned round. It's going to be a very light touch, this one. We're going to take about 1/4 of an inch off the wings down to about 1/2 inch from the middle area. I've angled the tool rest in so I can just run it along and it'll slowly create the shape I want. I'm leaving the tool rest in for as long as possible until right at the very last moment to take it away and finish off the centre. Because the state the tenon's in, it should be okay, but I've already had one accident today and I don't want another one. So, right, we're going to start turning at about 750 RPM. I don't think we'll get much faster than that. Right, let's start. We haven't taken off much, I just needed to... Oh, hello. Yeah, because some areas are thinner on the walls inside, I've got a changing of shape. That bit there will probably go all together. Right, we still need more off the wings. Okay. Didn't mean to do that. I was just testing how thin it was. Quite thin. Okay. Right. Still a bit more off the wings. Right, excellent. Take this out, better. Right, I shall set up for sanding. I shall bring you back when it's done. I'm having to be careful because there's a wasp around here somewhere. It's got my name on it, I'm sure. Okay, that's the sanding all done. Now, a couple of times recently I've had to redo a finish because of little bits of mist when I'm sanding. So I've taken a cue from some of the table makers to shine a light up the surface to see where the imperfections are. And it works brilliantly. It shows them up like you wouldn't believe. So anyway, right, now time to put the first coat of sealer on. Just going to take a few coats. I put 2 on the back, but I think I'm going to do 3 on the top here. So it's a nice hard wearing surface. Okay, I'll let this sit in and dry. I'll then put a couple more coats on and I'll bring you back when we're putting the final finish on. Okay, this has had 4 coats of sealer now. I've just gone over with the very, very fine abrasive pad just to nicely smooth the surface, and now we're going to go on with probably the same amount of coats as before, but with a normal shellac. But I'll bring you back when we're done and we'll take a look at the finished article. Well, there we are. A beautiful elm platter made from a slightly suspect piece of wood. It's quite interesting doing projects like this where you have to very much work within the limitations of the wood itself. You know, I'd like to have the wings to have been thinner, but I wasn't able to get there with the state of the wood. I'd like to have been deeper, but you can only work with the depth that you're given. So, but it has come up quite nicely. I like the figure in the wood. Elm burl is always just so beautiful to look at. I like the shellac finish. It's going to be nice, hard wearing, and it should last a long time. I really enjoyed this project. I did enjoy hurting my thumb, but that was my own stupid fault. I always pride myself generally at being as safe as I possibly can when I'm at the lathe, but sometimes I get a little bit carried away working off the lathe, doing some other projects, and I just forget the usual safety precautions I always put in place for myself. But we live and learn, and hopefully you've learned something as well from it. Right, well, apart from that, thank you very much indeed for watching. If you have enjoyed it, I would really appreciate a like and subscribe and all the usual things, and if you leave a comment as well, then you are going to be entered into a giveaway for the next competition. I'm not quite sure exactly when that will be. At the moment I'm getting a few videos out ready for taking a small break on my summer holidays. So anyway, thank you very much indeed for watching again, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.